We're 1 week into the LPL. We've got some really cool stuff happening already. Woo! And we are 1 week away from having the podcast legally allowed to drink in the States. It's an LPL English podcast here for episode 20.
Wait, what?
I'm joined by Rafa and Slayer.
Wait.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen. It's 20. It's almost 21.
Oh. We should celebrate next week. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I should have volunteered for the next episode. Fuck.
It would make sense too, right? It'd be like poetic because you and Yanni did the 420 episode, right? And
we were not actually for
you weren't.
We were not actually high. We just had producer Ilya throw up an amazing smoke effect on the screen for the 420 event, which there was some discussion as to whether or not we should actually do it, but I, for my own safety, did not want to be high while having to film a podcast episode. That would have been miserable. Yeah. Actually, nightmare fuel. But we are joined by Slayer, who just got off of doing the last 3-game series of the week for BLG and AL, which we'll get to later on in the show. Slayer, there we go. We got an image of the 420 event.
Sweet.
Funnily enough, 10 episodes ago. Perfect.
Perfect.
Slayer, how are you feeling after it was your only show? I guess last night.
Yes, I can't. I felt a little weird to come in later, but people who know me outside the esports space knew that I was working on the World Cup for a while, and it just so unfortunately lined up that the second I was released from working nearly every day of the week on the World Cup was the first week of the LPL, and I needed, respectfully, everybody, I needed a bit of time away from everything. So I had luck. I was happy though to get the last series of the week, and of course such a great series, but even more excited to get into the swing of things. And it's going to be weird because of how quick this regular split's going to be. It's practically a month, right?
Yeah, it's 5 weeks. What's up, Mark?
How did you feel about the World Cup final?
I was a little happy that I called the winner at the very beginning. I have receipts in multiple places, but I did think Spain were going to win it.
Elk is already tuned out. He's like, not more traditional sports talk,
Dude,
bro.
It's okay. I'm just hitting the Yamato, okay? I'm just hitting the Yamato cannon, okay? You guys can keep going.
I know I'm like one of the super sporty guys, but what I will say about this is Alk, I have not brought this up yet. I know yesterday basketball was talked a lot about. I did not bring it up on air. I was asked about it on air, and I have not brought it up this time. I thought the World Cup final though, Rafa, was very fun to watch for people who watch a lot of soccer, but I'm sure a lot of the casuals were just me. But I was impressed by how Spain.
Twitter was great. I was seeing insane amounts of of Messi slander, which was always makes my day. So I was down.
Why? Wait, why? I don't know if I asked you this. Why do you hate on Messi?
Let's just say that his track record with consent is not great. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Let's just say the human
unfortunately,
behind
both
the Messi.
him and I think Ronaldo also don't have a great track record there.
Exactly.
Classic
so
athletes.
I'm already not really like a sports person anyway, but I was just like, cool, I'm getting random slander. We're putting this in, like, this is going in. Mark, what are your thoughts on the finals? We'll just get this out of the way now.
Listen, I went into it because being a longtime Messi fan, I would have been happy if he could have won the World Cup one more time. But the fact that he had already completed that dream at the last World Cup in 2022, I'm like, okay, if they don't win, it's whatever. And the way that Argentina as a team handled themselves after the game, I lost a lot of respect for the squad after. And for me, I'm not Argentinian, I'm Peruvian, so there's always like a big rivalry with all the South American teams whenever they go up against like Argentina, because there's a lot of history between like Argentinians and how sometimes the heated debates and the fandom can sometimes come off very patronizing towards other South American countries. borderline racism as well, which is not great.
I saw some straight up racism, especially to the speed,
I
bro.
mean, when it's on Twitter, it is unadulterated racism, just straight up. Which I try to, tone on to be like, you know what, they're just doing it for the love of the game, and I'm trying to look past it because I just want to appreciate the best game in the entire world, which. At the end of the day, Spain played the best football going into the World Cup, and I was a little nervous about Spain when they couldn't even score a goal against Cabo Verde when the tournament started because, first of all, no one knew who Cabo Verde was, but now...
They turned out to be legends.
Yeah, I mean, Vozinha gained like double of what Cristiano Ronaldo's fans were overnight after the... What was it, like a record?
So he went from 40,000 Instagram followers to 20 million. I don't know. It wasn't overnight to 20 million, but in a week he gained 20 million.
That's crazy.
Instagram followers. The last thing I'd say on the World Cup, the coolest thing about the World Cup by far that I appreciated, outside of all you antisocial parasocial Twitter users being racist, was all the actual fans in real life were super cool. The amount of interactions I saw of like the Bostonians adopting the Scots and just loving the Scottish people, the Koreans and Mexicans getting along beautifully, like the fact that Gangnam Style was charting in the top 5 in Mexico because they kept playing Gangnam Style with all the Korean fans, and that was my favorite part. Was all the fans really in person blended together. It was awesome to see all these cultures come together.
Yeah, the cross-culture fandom was so... it was, like, funny in a very endearing way because you just never expect them to come together. But I think there was a significant match that South Korea played, I think it was at the 2018 World Cup, where they knocked out Germany, or they upset Germany, and it allowed Mexico to advance. So... it made it so that Mexico was like, Coreanos, nuestros hermanos. And the Koreans are like, Mexicanos, chingu. And so they just exclaimed like a brotherhood together. So, yeah, I'm always down for when football brings people together rather than antagonizes them.
Awesome. Only made it 7 minutes, guys. This is awesome. This means that we can now spend hopefully the rest of the time talking about League of Legends. Not just LPL, but League of Legends.
I promise I will not bring up sports. I promise.
You're allowed to bring up sports. I'm just not going to get the reference.
I know. That's fine. I probably
all good. All good. So, real quick, producer Ilya, if we could actually pull up the standings before we get into the podcast. For folks who missed it, we are on from Wednesday to Sunday for the rest of the regular season, which is going to be for 4 weeks after this. This is the results of our first bit of the week. We went to black. Oh. Producer Ilya. And we're back. Awesome. Awesome. I wouldn't say I'm like ultra surprised by some of these reactions, or some of these like results. BLG at 3-0. Maybe the road in which they got there is pretty cool, but this group Nirvana, I'm so locked in on Nirvana this split. Like part of me almost doesn't really care about Ascend because like that's gonna they're already like guaranteed to make play-ins. I want to see which two teams don't make it out of this group.
That is definitely the most fun part. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, because low-key group Ascend regular season doesn't matter to an extent. I think it's only the last 2 seeds of Group Ascend would have to play against the top 2 seeds of Group Nirvana, and then that is where you are a little concerned about having to play against either, we suspect, IG, or we would hope Weibo Gaming to be like on paper the second strongest team out of Group Nirvana.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like we don't know.
NIP look pretty good. I don't know. Ninjas in pajamas look pretty good. Yeah, no, I'm with you, Dimitri. Though I think Group Nirvana is going to be must-watch TV for sure. And the way things started, hopefully it's not indicative of how the rest of the group will go, because my impression of the first couple series we saw from Nirvana wasn't I think it's kind of lopsided, right? Of course, there's only one series, but I thought that maybe IG and Weibo were a bit closer. I mostly have NIPL and G in my memory, and that was yeah. Let's just say that I might already be saying there are only 3 teams competing for 2 spots. I think that that is the overreaction I have about Group Nirvana.
Sure.
Okay, we have some week 1 overreactions. Just so we're not just looking at 1 million standings for forever. So let's kind of just get into them real quick. I chose 3, but we can choose really any of the other teams that are in here.
Yes.
Any from left to right, you could choose any one of these guys. Which one do we want to jump into first?
Thunder
Mark,
Talk, baby.
Yeah, go,
yes. Listen. Now, I can't say that I have been holding the Junhao banner forever, but I do want to say that Junhao first impressed me when he globalized Naafiri jungle back in 2025 spring last year. He was the first ever tier 1 Naafiri jungler in pro play, and ever since then, Naafiri jungle has been a common staple in every carry jungler's pocket. So now the fact that Junhao, however, has emerged to be one of the most dominating jungle performances all week long, I'm ready to put him forth as one of the best junglers that we have here in LPL. Straight up.
I kind of like it. I actually back a lot of it, Mark. So I think he's been very impressive. I think he's been a driving force for Thunder Talk. And I kind of think, I saw some people who I know for a fact are watching every single LPL game, because a lot of the casuals you'll see on Twitter and in some of your chats they might pretend like they watched a lot of Nirvana, but they didn't. And there are people that I trust that watch a lot of Nirvana from past. And, I think Junhao has been quietly pretty solid. Just kind of stuck in Nirvana. It can be rough in some of these games to really pop off, right? Get a lot of eyes on you. But I think this is why I like the take from you, Mark, and this overreaction, I guess, is that I feel like we've kind of been brewing towards this. I think Junhao is kind of, alluded isn't the right word. He kind of set the stage to scale in to these performances we're starting to see. And now that they're in Group Ascend, right, it's just the sheer magnitude of more eyeballs, and more people are starting to be like, hey, where has this guy been? And it's like, well, he's been slumming in Nirvana, I feel like.
It's tough because it's always like, if you're like the best player in Nirvana, it's like, okay, well, if you're the best player, like take for instance like 1xN. A lot of people would say like, hey, this guy is potentially like a top 5 AD carry in the league on like his best day, but he's playing against plumbers. So is the competition actually pushing him, or is he just like really that good? And I will say that Junhao definitely has some bad games against the top teams so far already this split.
Yeah.
But in general, Thunder Talk have been fine. The problems that I have with this team have been solo lanes. Keshi and Haru in like really weird spots sometimes, or making like over forcing plays to get their team an advantage. We saw it actually last night. Keshi's like most played champion, and I think the champion that he's probably most iconic for this year is Ambessa. And this Ambessa Gnar matchup has just gone completely sideways. Just not even just him. We saw Breathe versus Wenbo, and the same thing happened where you take Electrocute Ambessa, and maybe if this was 4 months ago, you actually would solo kill the Gnar, or you would pressure him in the early game with your jungler being there. But that didn't happen. Both times the Ambessa was pathed away by their jungler, and both times the Ambessa got solo killed by a lethal tempo Gnar in lane. So it was really, really weird to see kind of the change in the matchup, and also it being like an iconic champion for him. But going back to the original point, Junhao, right now, I would say just only week 1, he got a 30 KDA in his series versus EDG last night.
Whew.
Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, that's wild.
It is pretty insane. I'm willing to taper the excitement of that particular series because it is against EDG, and I don't have a lot of respect.
You're not back on EDG train. Your boy's back in the lineup. I thought that was.
I know Perugia's on the lineup, but they have not solved the problem, and that is Leave is going to still do Leave shit, bro. And I'm just.
This wasn't Lee's fault though.
I don't care. He's a curse to the team.
Dude, it wasn't his fault. His mid laner is Bulldog. Like,
yeah, Bulldog.
That is true. Bulldog definitely sucks. But
dude,
if you look at EDG, they were on the road to the promised land in Summer Split 2025, and all they changed going into Winter 2026 was the 80 carry position. Ons did not play well towards the end of playoffs, but look where On is now. On is now on a team with Thundertalk. I mean, technically he and EDG are in the same position going into it, but I thought that Leave would be a straight up upgrade, and EDG did not play well, and they figured that Perugia was the problem. And for me, that I just don't sit well with that. I cannot respect EDG anymore. Even if they return to him, it's like, no, for me, you've already burned the bridge. You going back on it just feels like you're like, like we clearly we thought that this was the better choice, but you all said that it was actually wrong, and so we decided to come back. Just like, LCS thinking that LTA was a good brand move, but it clearly wasn't, and so they went back to LCS, So
I'm going to push back on this. I need to push back on this for the sake of, if they don't play Jway in Split 2, they don't make playoffs. They went 3-2. They're 7-7 in their game score. They're potentially one game off of not making it, with Ultra Prime being 6-6. LGD qualified being 6-6, right? Perugia, look, it's all good, but Split 2 is by and far the most important split in the entire season. For teams that are not going to make Worlds, not getting eliminated is the most important thing, and Perugia was not good on Enchanters. That was just the meta. Jway knew how to play the Lulus, still knew how to play things like Karma, and they needed him. Also, the real problem with this team is that your solo lanes fucking suck. My solo lanes are ZDZ and Angel. Angel, who, by the way, was completely lost when we saw Control Mages not being Azir and all of the normal, like, old stuff going back in. Orianna being permabanned the entire season, basically. And ZDZ cannot transition lane leads into team fights. The one time we got to see it was actually against BLG, and it was the game that they won. EDG versus BLG 2 nights ago. I don't think that Perugia would have saved this team. Also, their coaching staff was terrible. Clearlove continues to trip forward into success. Like, they made playoffs with Jway in the lineup, and sure, they did nothing in the actual playoffs, but they won their play-in series versus NIP and sent them to Nirvana. That is not at all Perugia's fault, but he should have learned the Enchanters. That is just an important part of playing support. Kind of in the same vein of another lane having to learn multiple different styles.
Yeah, totally. Go ahead. Keep going.
On the one hand, you have valid reasoning. On the other hand, let me fucking cope in peace. God damn it. Let me reminisce in the past where Perugia looked like he was going to revolutionize LPL with the way that he was roaming, hardcore roaming, before hardcore roaming became a thing. And when I see him not performing well on Camille, I cannot accept that Perugia is a bad player, because then it would ruin the whole dream I had of trying to elevate Perugia with his come up, with his story of watching Mako as a 10-year-old with his dad. That shit is too good. As like someone that just is a fucking sucker for like feel good, positive, hope core stories like that, if I accept the Perugia just sucks, that ruins everything. So I have to just put it on Leave, because he was the only change in winter, and I just have to believe he is a curse so that I can cope in peace and hope that Perugia can get better. That is like my...
He can't play mages, that's for sure. I'll give you that. Leave can't play mages, and I don't know why we keep picking this. I know why we're doing the Ziggs. I think that they have a cut-paste strategy that they've been doing in all of their games, with Ziggs first game, focus on 3 grubs, 9-minute rotation into top lane, grab the first turret. It's now happened 3 games in a row, or at least 2 games in a row. But he cannot play mages. They They don't know how to play the map. I'm really depressed. Please just put them on an 80 carry.
We took a
we have some other
from
teams
Thunder
here.
Talk.
Yeah.
So
Thunder Talk, congrats, good job. They could have 2-0'd Top Esports. They literally lost that game in the last 10 minutes, and it was so depressing.
Yeah, no, very positive team. I'm excited to see Thunder Talk. I believe, so they play. Oh, they actually got that's a bit of a tough week.
Their schedule this week is really cringe. And I said on the cast that if they win 2 out of the 3 series this week, then I'm happy, honestly. If they win 1 out of the 3, but like, sure.
If anyone glazes through this podcast and they're just kind of reading through like the script that is generated by the YouTube video and they're wondering like, why do we still think that Junhao is like legit super good? It's because Junhao is pulling off these performances against BLG and Top Esports with worse solo laners, straight up. And he's just pulling on jungle master classes against however you want to feel about Tien, especially after the atrocities committed at MSI. Understandable, but Shun is literally the best jungler in LPL right now, and he bodied him, and that I have to respect.
Fair. And the last thing I'll say for sure on Thunder Talk, and I'm going to force the transition after this to another team, is that Junhao will now have to play against Tarzan and Monkey in the same week, so we'll really get to see how good he is against the rest of the great junglers that we have. LNG. I would like to talk about LNG. The first thing I will say, if you have watched any of me casting, or on this podcast, actually, I'll say that, is I am, 1xN fan club guy. 1xN, dude, lock the fuck in. What the fuck? I mean, I don't even know. That was the worst 1xN performance I've seen in a long time in the O2 up against NIP. It was disgusting. He just looked checked out. But what I will say, and I don't want this to be, this is not me covering for 1xN. He played terrible. That's why I wanted to lead off with this. I find it very funny that we brought in YCX, right? And we're keeping Missing on. So it's like a 6-man roster. And my original thought process was, okay, we can like try some super sub stuff where like if we see an enchanter angle we want to go for, we'll play like Missing, and we'll play him with 1xN maybe. And then like YCX, I still think he's like the hook champion guy. I would rather play him on like engage looks. The first fucking game is us sticking YCX on Melio, right? Like I think he plays Melio with Lucian on 1xN, and the guy, it's just like, why? Like what is the like we brought this guy in and we're just gonna put him on Melio duty. I understand that we could definitely sit here and say like kind of like Alki you were saying earlier about you need to be able to play multiple styles. Is that he should be able to play the enchanters, right? But I just kind of find it funny. Like if we're gonna roster 2 supports, and they both have like different strengths, why aren't we trying? Why aren't we flexing that? I don't know. It's early. I don't want to panic too much on that, but I just found that funny. I think that's a little funny.
I think it's tough because like this whole like, oh, we'll bring in a player to like play a very specific style is
it can get punished.
Fine.
In
I think it's not only that it's punished, it's just like, well, what happens if the draft suddenly changes, right? Like what if they pick something that's like, ooh, I don't want to play Lucian Melio into this, or like, ooh, we kind of need you to play engage in this game. Like, I don't know. I'm like less in like when I hear like, oh, we should bring in a player who's like specifically going to play like one role, I'd rather they just like play that one role and be on the team. I mostly feel bad for YCX because he got ditched for his team just to pick up Crisp,
for Crisp,
which is like that is, I don't think a lot of people would say no to taking Crisp on their team, especially LGD, who are trying to make like a last minute run to the regional finals if they can make it. But I feel like his story is really sad. I don't know if this LNG team is going to do very much. They got bodied, and I like Wei doesn't feel like the fix. I don't think that Nya had a particularly great series. It was like this LNG team has been 1xN carry us, and he got bodied in lane. Photic and Feng Yue ran their pockets and made them completely useless. Multiple 2v2 kills in the first game, and then game 2 just looked really off. don't know. Like, for LNG, I don't even know, like, what the fix is at this point. Because you can't, like, you've now dropped the Koreans in your mid-jungle.
Yeah.
And, like, we just don't have the firepower anymore. And it's not their fault that Nirvana now has IG and Weibo, but you had to make a splash for this split. And it's just, they are very clearly, to me anyway, unless something changes, the worst team in Nirvana.
Yeah.
They straight up might be the worst team in LPL, which is unfortunate because this team went from, at the beginning of the year, back in Winter Split, a team that we all thought, oh, this team does not belong in Group Nirvana. They actually belong in Group Perseverance, and they have the firepower to punch not only into Group Perseverance, but also potentially into that first split playoffs, right? But then they failed to make the run into playoffs. Who did they lose to? IG at the end of the road?
They lost to Weibo. Or they lost to WE at the very end.
WE.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And we didn't even expect WE to make it that far because they were still kind of struggling with Monkey's confidence. It was like in that period where Monkey had yet to find his form again, and they were kind of relying on Karis to be the savior for the team, which not many of us really expected as a
hey, they went to 5 games versus that top esports who had a win trader on it. So I like like went 5 games versus TES. They went 5 games versus versus LNG, and I was like, okay.
But LNG now no longer having Croco or Bulldog, and I feel like Croco was the biggest loss because that was their main early game engine driving through a lot of those like set pieces and a lot of the objective control. And Croco was just kind of like your real only way that you would be able to compete with teams in your group. But now on top of LNG no longer having their jungler, and I mean, we haven't seen this guy in quite some time in the LPL, and he's not living up to at least their first 2 series against his competition, which has been, Guwon and who was their other series? Was it against IG or was it against Weibo? For LNG.
Well, they've
only played 1 series.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
I mean, then, who knows? Yeah, the first look for LNG, it definitely blows to lose. But for Group Nirvana, I think it's just going to be a rocky road for them at the end of the day, unless Weiwei can replace what Croco gave to them at the beginning of the year. And I think YCX, even though I understand the frustration of thinking YCX should be on Engage. Why is he playing Enchanters? We have to remember that this guy was playing Seraphine before everyone else started playing Seraphine around the world when he first started playing in Tier 1 back in the beginning of 2025. So I find it strange that he is struggling on an Enchanter playstyle when Seraphine has been in his pool before everyone else started
he's
playing
Melio, bro.
Seraphine.
He can't do anything. He can't do anything when his Lucian gets solo killed by Xayah or Gon.
True.
I'm
at
a loss for words.
Responsibility, and YCX be like, it's not my fault.
Yeah, playing Lucian Melio and we lost lane. Okay, so what does the champion do now? We're kind of screwed, guys.
Do we know why Croco and Missing are just gone?
Well, Missing's still on the team, but Croco and so what happened is that LNG were really banking on this, the fact that they didn't make it in Split 1 was already kind of like a management, at least these are all rumors, is like, okay, not great, but we went to 5 games. We'll try again in Split 2. We still have another chance. They made it. They did the whole run in regular season. Everything's looking good. You get 1 playoff series. And after they lost that, management saw that and was like, okay, this was an abject failure. Coach Edgar, you're out. Croco, Bulldog, you're out. We're going right back to our Chinese players. This was a big waste of time and kind of a big waste of money for us to bring 2 players from the LCK back over to the LPL. Not going to do that anymore. And so that's why they then bring in Lumao, who was previously positional / like assistant coach on BLG for a couple of years. They brought them in to help coach this team and build around Sheer and 1xN and keeping them. And that's why eventually once Bulldog went back into free agency, EDG were like, crap, we need a mid laner. Like, this guy was the best guy in Nirvana. Like, well, let's just take a chance. Last thing I will say about EDG. I keep coming back to this, but I made this connection on the show. I think one of the reasons that Bulldog looks so awful in comparison to even his Nirvana splits from this last year is because he doesn't have another Korean player on the team. He doesn't have someone who can communicate and help like transition him. Krako's Mandarin and his Korean is like, obviously he's a Korean citizen, but his Mandarin's actually not that bad because he played in AL a couple of years ago. So he has a baseline and he can communicate with his teammates. That is just not true of Bulldog. And I'm sure Bulldog's been working on it this year, but it's clear to me that he's now in a new environment, no teammates that he can like speak with. They have a translator, but like that's for out of game stuff. I feel bad for every. I made the joke that he saw LNG get 2-0'd by NIP, and he's like, you know what, EDG, we're also gonna get 2-0'd by Thunder Tug. Let's just keep it in the family. All the LNG players.
Bulldog needs Bulldog needs a Hyung. He needs an older brother that can help ease him into the team culture, and that's tough.
How about we talk about how JDG is the anti-easing themselves into any late game? Or EDG. Did I say EDG? I meant JDG. Did I say JDG?
JDG, let's just flame EDG again, guys. Actually, I'm down with this one.
No. JDG. Listen, this is like the overreaction where, I don't know. I'm on the polar ends of this, guys. I need a little help because part of me is kind of like, it's early. I feel like I don't want to panic too much on JDG. I still think, like, in the state of the LPL, they should be able to take advantage of how some of these other Ascent teams are, making these swaps that we're a little, iffy about. But then I also continue to see in my nightmares the end of that 3 Elder game against AL and the decisions that were made by this team, and want to think that this team is going off the rails. So that's where I'm stuck at the polar ends of how to feel about JDG. But
I'm done with this team.
You're done with. You're full done with this team. Okay.
I'm ready to go next year already on this team.
Okay. So
I know. Maybe that's like kind of like, oh well, duh. Like for anybody who doesn't know, I'm the one that makes all the PowerPoint stuff for the show for us to have stuff to talk about. But like, Nymera has been talking about it. Aragon's been talking about it. I've been talking about it. JDG just don't have the firepower, I think, right now to substantiate like a real run. I think if there's any time they're going to win, it needs to be either Gala like actually playing correctly. I need like Xiaoshu to have these counters that are actually going to work. He's been pretty hit or miss on some of them. I know people are really, really fond of like his Tryndamere earlier on, but like the Tristana games haven't been working. The Olaf games are hit or miss as to what we get from him. I don't think that this team has the like ability to really punch up in the weight class, and them making finals in Split 1 was really, really cool, but also a lot of Split 1's results are tainted because of Top Esports. What does that team look like? What does JDG look like going in if they can't? I don't think that this team has actually meaningfully evolved since like February or March of this year.
Yeah. JDG just seems to lack a clutch factor for the late game, which I feel like is so strange considering that Tabe is their fucking coach. Like, Tabe was the
Tabe seems to have gotten worse over the years. Just remember, they did well in Split 1 of last year. Then Split 2, yes, they have a super surge to then win and be first seed for MSI, but that literally took Tarzan having the best Zed play of all time in jungle for them to do that. And then Split 3, they go fourth. And I don't know, like, meh.
Yeah,
Or they go
Yeah,
third, sorry.
I'm trying to understand like why their late game decision making continues to be what really kills JDG in the end, because obviously not every single early game from Junja is a masterclass, but some of the best early games have been demonstrated by Junja, especially once we all got back from first stand and spring. You saw Junja coming up with very, very creative level 1 invades. I think he was the jungler that really pushed forward Nocturne into what could be like such an oppressive jungler to play against, and then everyone started playing Nocturne. Obviously we saw inklings of it at MSI, credit to both Shun and Skewmon, but then I just have distinct memories of Hongq willing to drop early waves just to prevent Tarzan from being able to farm his own damn chickens after Junja pushes him out of his blue quadrant jungle, right? And those kind of plays from JDG are like awesome to see, but then when it comes to translating those early game advantages into leads that they can actually capitalize and close the game out on, that's just where it just seems to fall apart ever since then. And consistently when they had to play against BLG in the lower bracket playoffs, they couldn't get any of those early game leads to actually follow through into meaningful mid-game advantages. Their macro is starting to fall apart, and their team fighting, the decision making, and their setup seem to be just a shadow of what it was when it felt like these guys were bopping BLG back-to-back series back in Split 1.
Yeah, the more I think about JDG, I feel like they kind of have just been like the cracks were showing in spots for me earlier in this year, and none of those leaks are getting plugged, and things are getting worse, right? So like the first clear sign to me was like the bot lane issues. We felt like Gala and Vampire would have came into this year and been one of the better laning duos, and Gala would be, able to be hyper aggressive with Vampire's champion pool and be able to kind of snowball and win a lot of games that way. That hasn't happened.
The Caitlyn Lux game was miserable to watch. That was horrible.
Yeah, disgusting. And so that problem's still apparent. I think, and now, like kind of like what you're talking about, Mark, is that now the jungle aggressiveness has kind of slowed down from Junja. I also think Hongq's laning, at least early on, if we're talking overreaction, has been suspect. The game they win against AL, he actually goes crazy on the Syndra towards the end of this game. But people are going to kind of forget, and Nightmare reminded me when I made a joke tweet about it, that like the first 15 minutes of the Syndra game, he's playing awful. His laning is awful. Yep. And this is the guy, by the way, that like if you remember in a Split 1, he came in and one of the very first series he plays, he like solo kills Knight, right? Yeah. And his laning was like he becomes like the solo kill guy. So that's a problem. And then I'm glad you talked about Xiaosu, because I'm going to kind of take it a step further here, right? With all the chaos of the top lane switches we've had in Ascend, you come into Split 3, you look at the Ascend top laners alone, right? I'm not talking about the Shy, all right? I don't factor the Shy into this. He's in Nirvana. It's like Breathe, Wenbo, ZDZ, Birdall, Cube, Zwayon, and Keshi. And then Xiaosu. This guy should be the best top laner in Group Ascend. Like, if you'd come into the split, he should be the best top laner. I had him as the second all-pro top laner last split, and he's not exploiting those counter matchups to make him so fun. So, yeah, I guess I've kind of, the more I've heard you two talk, the more I've thought about it, this team is kind of starting to crumble and maybe on the verge of it. So, I hope they turn it around because, well, the region kind of needs it, but I'm not necessarily inclined to say that that's coming anytime soon, and they haven't shown that that's coming anytime soon.
Yeah, and their early exit in the playoffs makes me worried because now they are third in points. They're 65, so likely that we'll see this team in the regional finals, but it depends on their playoff bracket. They might get lucky depending on who they play against. Let's get a move on because we've spent a lot of time talking about some of the week 1 overreactions. This is probably going to be another long segment now that I think about it, but I just wanted to talk about bot lane. Yep. This is now a second time in a row because we talked about mage meta last week with Gebetto and Mazel, but there's a lot of misconceptions going around of like mages and like AD carries, like, they need to go bot lane. There's a lot of talk online. I think some people are getting... I feel like they're missing the forest for the trees almost, where it's like, wow, we're seeing mages. Why? It must be that mages are overwhelmingly broken. I think there are two things that kind of go into this. One, the role quests this year, likely that we are going to need to have a massive overhaul again, either to the roles themselves or to actually fixing classes again. So classes or the archetypes in which champions fall into. So mages, artillery, AD carries or marksmen, bruisers, juggernauts, all these kinds of wardens, tanks. Because what's happening and what happened at the beginning of the year is basically Riot said that supports being in lane is like fine, but it's not going to generate enough. Like you can stay in lane, or you can go to these other roles and completely break everything. You can go to mid lane and blow the enemy mid's flash. And you could have done this before, but like there's really no incentive to stay in lane anymore. And you look at the other two roles like top and mid, and they actually have parts of their role quests that are generated based on champion damage. You can go top lane that has all of these ranged top laners, and because it is a quest that is super multiplicative, because you finish the quest, you get flat XP, and you get more XP for the rest of the game from minions and kills, why not just go top lane, and now you blow a summoner spell, or you make a volatile matchup hard winning for your top laner that was previously either unwinnable without attention, or, you know, just more and more playable. A lot of the gold has also shifted into turrets and bounties. We have home guards, we have crystalline overgrowth in the game, minions come out faster, there's just more gold in the game, even if you're not an AD carry, and the AD carry role quest just sucks. It's just gold, which is fine, but if the game is about playing the first 5 to 20 minutes, and you're a marksman, your role quest activates anywhere between 9 and 12 minutes, what would you rather have as a team? If we are going into first/second dragon, or we're playing the first grubs, would you rather have a Ziggs, a Mel, a Syndra, a Jace, or would you rather have a Caitlyn, a Jinx, and a Phelios on one, maybe 1.5 items and boots?
Mm-hmm.
What does a marksman do during most fights?
Auto attack?
Yeah. What does Syndra do during a fight? I give you a massive stun. I give you slows. I'm probably level 6 at this time, so we can kill somebody. If I'm playing Jace, I have 6 spells. Most of it is going to be poke. Sure. If I'm playing Sylas, my champion's OP as hell at level 6. Like, I'm 1.5 champions, and I could be down 10 CS versus a marksman. I don't care. Like, the marksman's not going to be able to get away from me when I press abscond abduct. So then we get into like the pyramid or like the circle. You play mages to beat AD carries. You play the bruisers and the juggernauts to beat up on mages. And then you play the AD carries to beat the tanks. We are getting there. We're starting to get there. LCKCL was playing like Mundo bot lane very early on after MSI. And they're playing all these tanks. We are getting there. I don't understand why the community hates this. I get it. It's weird to see Victor Akali bot lane as a thing popping up in pro play. But for the longest time, fans have complained the game is too slow to watch at a pro level. I'm waiting for a fight at 30 minutes into the game to decide whether or not which team wins. Here we go. We have now had proper development where teams are actually exploring different champions in different roles, and I'm seeing people say that this is cringe. I don't get it. What do you want? What do you want from the game? Do you want it to be fast and fun and like 2018 all over again? Or do you want slow, boring, nothing burger games where the game is already decided on one team fight, which it already is?
Slayer, where are you on this? Are you pro mage or anti mage?
So, I don't know if this. Well, I don't think this is a cop out. I have two very different opinions as like two very different League of Legends enjoyers. Let's put it that way, right? I said this on the cast a little bit because Jay Beto asked me about it, obviously, like you want to, Mark. From the fan, caster, pro play viewer angle, I love it. I think it's very fun. I think it's very fresh. I support a lot of the things that Alt just said. Because for me, to like kind of simplify this, I think opening up these champion pools for the best players in the world is super fun, right? Like, these guys are, you know, the best of the best when it comes to skill expression, executing all these champions, you know, these different combos that mages bring, these different interactions even in lane that mages do bring to it, right? I think that's very fun. I'm very much so enjoying it. It's a breath of fresh air. The League of Legends player in me absolutely hates it. I despise it because, you know, a part of it for me is that, yeah, I grew up playing this game. I played this game for like, you know, some level of years, near a decade. And I've, you know, made my mark playing Ezreal, you know, playing all these very fun marks.
Your champion is still good. Your Caitlyn Ezreal is still good.
Yes. Well, I learned the Caitlyn. I used to hate Caitlyn. I had to learn Caitlyn. But, you know, like, other, you know, I have a lot of reps on a lot of other the big auto-attacking champions as well that aren't, you know, spellcasters. You know, I played a ton of Jinx back in the days. I like Yunara, stuff like that. So I hate it because, for me, a bunch of noobs in my ranked games can just perma-delete waves, are completely skillless, and I don't have any way to really punish them that well unless I'm playing stuff. It's a little bit more fortunate for me because I play a lot of Ezreal, and he does fit in, like Alk is saying. But I do think it enables a lot of very just lame and noob-like players to kind of go bot lane, delete waves, scale up, and then I can never interact with them because they got the gold quest from the bot quest, and now they can just delete me if they hit one snare, right? So I'm kind of torn is where I'm at. And I don't really care about talking about the solo queue experience here because that's not really what really matters. And that's why, Mark, before we got on here, I was kind of telling you, like, oh, you know, my opinion on the mages in the LPL is actually maybe not what you were thinking. I am enjoying it from a viewer perspective. I hate it, though, from a player perspective. This is the least amount of fun I've had playing ranked all year long.
For context, y'all, I came into this episode thinking I was ready to die on this hill, but maybe because the people that I was hanging out with were the vocal minority.
Dude,
or maybe
Mazel
we
needs
are
to.
the
I need
vocal
to kill.
minority.
I need to kill Lennon. I need to kill Mazel tonight,
okay,
bro.
But like, bro complains about the mage meta all the time, and I'm like, you literally play Ziggs and Swain. Just fucking adapt and play what is strong. Like, you already play these champions.
Yes.
I even feel like he plays Swain and Ziggs better than the traditional marksman. He's a better spellcaster than a traditional right-and-click kiting player. I think him making complaints about, oh, get these mages out of my bot lane, is like, adapt or die. Like, it's not our problem, and you know, you are making excuses. So, but I'm for me, it's even more charged because anyone that is a traditional bot lane player, and for years and years and years, except for a couple of stints in 2019 and 2021, they have never had to learn other styles of play. Being a jungle main, I have
Every
had to learn
season, your
tanks.
role changes.
Every fucking season it changes. Every season I go from playing 80 fighters to mages. I go from mages to playing tanks. I go from playing tanks to marksmen. And then the cycle fucking continues. And
Mark my swear jar, please, please.
Sorry.
I didn't know that was
But
a thing.
I have come to love it because I have enjoyed the challenge of learning multiple play styles over the years. So when I see people are like, oh, I have to change, I wanted to get these mages out of my bot lane. Shut up, man. Just get better at the game. Like, please. That's like
Every other MOBA, you have to be able to play multiple different champions or characters or whatever. You have to be able to be flexible.
Yeah.
Like,
now, that being said, I do miss having marksmen in compositions, because I think there is an art to having really strong marksman play, but I feel like the answer to that actually has to be putting marksman in a different role consistently. And
Riot hates that. Riot hates putting marksman in other roles. Anytime Tristana mid is viable, Riot comes in with a gun and just says, we're going to kill you now.
And also, can we, because I am the AD carry player here, can we at least, also Dimitri, what am I saying?
Yeah.
But Dimitri loves this. What I will say is, for everyone that's pretending like AD carry players whining about the mage's bot is like the most annoying possible thing ever, can we all at least admit that they're equal? All right, I'm going to say they're equal. There is equal amount of annoying whining about this that there is when marksmen do get into the mid lane, right? Like, we can agree that, like, the amount of the salt level that AD carry players have right now is what mid lane players had when we had Tristana, or is what other roles had when Tristana was in the mid lane and Ezreal. I think it's pretty equatable. I think it's the same level of whining.
Mark, we remember 2018. There are literally players who are rioting about playing the game because AD carry stopped being super powerful. In 2018, when Vladimir and Swain and all these champions came into bottom lane, that's where like we got the actual name for awesome dude meta. That's like when LCK was having a lot of fun, and even Viper was known for playing mages at like a super high level.
Bot lane.
Yeah, Garen Yumi bot lane was a thing at some point.
Yeah.
We had people who were like, there was literally Reddit threads brigading, talking about this game is ruined. We're not going to play the game anymore. AD carry players are, for better or for worse, we are known for whining so much that our role is locked to playing attack damage carries. Reckless literally benched himself saying, I'm not going to play until there are AD carries back in the game in bot lane.
They had Bwipo playing in bot lane while
and then that's why we have Bwipo playing in bot lane, and he's playing with Hylissang, and then they're going off to Worlds and stuff and playing, and then eventually what happened is Reckless like acquiesced and ended up playing Garen Yumi and became one of the best Garen Yumi players with Hylissang in the entire world. Like, they became an elite level bot lane playing that kind of style, and alongside playing other marksmen. And I just don't believe that the same whining that people had for watching Zeri and Tristana in mid lane, or like Corki in mid lane, is anywhere close to playing bot lane. Like, AD carry players, I know that we're whiny. I don't really care because I play a lot of different things. I play almost every role except jungle, and this is just normal, man. And I also get bored. Like, at a certain point, you just get bored of playing the same marksman every single game. I don't want to play Caitlyn, Jinx, Aphelios, Ezreal every single, like, 3 games of that, I'm like, all right, what's next? Like, I want to play something different. Like, even if it's slightly worse for the game, I'm like, cool, I want to play a Draven game. I want to play a Kai'Sa game. I want to play, like, a Syndra game. That's so much fun to me. I love play. I actually haven't been able to play because the parental controls thing completely borked my League of Legends, and I'm working with Riot support to fix my account. I don't know. Yeah, while we were at TennoCon, now I'm explaining this to Ilya, producer Ilya. Riot Games introduced parental controls so parents can control their kids playing League of Legends, and they banned almost everybody by accident the first day it came out, so they've been like working to fix it. I don't know what's wrong with my League of Legends. I want to play all of this. I'm a Jace player. I want to play Jace bottom lane. Like, I want to play Essence Reaver, Navori Flicker Blades, Jace, because that looks really fun right now.
Yeah. You can spice it up with some Syndra bot. You can play some Akali bot.
I was already playing Syndra bot. I was already playing Syndra bot, and I'm the goat at playing Syndra. So like, I love this. This is exactly where I want to be, and this is where League of Legends should be. We have 150 champions in the game. You know how cool it would be if like I could see Gumayushi gliding on a mage, or I could see players like Pays. Dude, his mage play is insane.
Yeah. I mean, He's been warming up on the Ziggs ever since he came over from Gen G and his first year in LPL over on JDG. We nicknamed him LeBron Pays with all of the dunks that he was finding. So I'm down for Pays to continue displaying his wealth of mastery across multiple archetypes, and just put Pays on an assassin. I want to see what happens when he plays something like an Akali.
Please, it would be so cool, bro. Like Viper's Akali, that game unfortunately the draft was unplayable, and we literally got to see in real time mages losing to tanks. But dude, his Akali mechanics, they look like they're there or they're getting close to it. I want to see Viper on Akali. You know how cool that would be?
I got flashbacks to Griffin 2018, bro. I was like, oh my god, is that him? This is my last point for the overall meta shifts, because I want to scope
Slayer's
out,
dying over there. Slayer, I want to...
Yeah.
I said everything I want to say.
I think that the thing that people haven't been ready for yet is just how proactive supports can be, and the abandonment that creates in the bot lane means that playing something like a marksman in a super long lane, anytime that the wave is not in a good state for you, you just have no safe way of being able to get golden experience for yourself. You are fragile. Your burst damage of easily picking up a wave from afar is negligible to practically none, versus things like Xerath and Vel'Koz, who can easily like throw out a full spell rotation and boom, they collect their wave and they can walk away.
Even Akali can clear a wave safely. She just presses W.
So my solution, which unfortunately is gated by role quests at the moment, and I'm you've said a lot of the points that I wanted to get into, Dimitri, is that I think role quests need to be overhauled so that rather than having role quests decided in draft, it should be decided in game, so that if you lock a marksman, I think you should be given the option and decide, actually, I think we should send our duo mid lane to start the game. I think the game would how should I say this? Would reduce the antagonization that traditional marksman players have, because rather than playing in a super long lane where you are immediately punished once the wave state is terrible for you, mid lane, you do not get punished as much. It's harder to maintain wave freezes on another opponent. You're able to break it a lot more easily. I think the only thing you might give up is your ability to move with your jungler. But if you have your support laying with you, we go to Wild Rift meta. We just now have the second jungler being enabled right from level 1, where you're immediately pushing first wave with your ADC, and then you just go off and look for immediate vision timers or trying to see if you can move with your jungler and invading. And for me, I think that is a cool future that League could move to, but they have not decided to yet. Or if you do not want to necessarily force your AD carry because of role quests gating you from starting a bot lane quest, I think you should just have your bot laners actually just take the mid lane quest going into the game, because the tier 3 Berserker boots,
that I will disagree with. I will disagree with.
I'm sorry,
I don't think that I think there is a level, kind of what Slayer was talking about. I think there needs to be some replicability of solo queue to pro play for players just in general. Like, when we have seen the meta be really, really weird, that has been when a lot of players go like, well, I'm not seeing this in my games. Or the other side of that is what Slayer is talking about. Now I have a bunch of people who are first time in Camille support and ruining my game, or playing like Vi support, or they're playing like all these different things like that ruin the, like, maybe temporarily impact the level of solo queue. I do think that they need to like keep 2 people in bottom lane at least to start, and then you're allowed to break off. Like pro play, you can break that. That also technically means that if we allow that, then like people might start doing lane swaps again, and that is where I think a lot of players immediately sign out and go, nope, I'm not watching this.
I do also fear with a plan like that, Mark, that because I approach it from like the player based standpoint. Like I think stuff like that would be cool to again watch. Like as a viewer, I think that could be very fun. But
yeah,
I hear that and think ability to switch quests and all this stuff. the amount of grief ability you would have at your hands.
Yeah, I don't think I have a perfect solution.
Yeah.
Which is why I wanted to discuss, like, how would you solve the overhaul for Roll Quest, because it is not in a healthy state the way it is. But
I think they need to fix support. Support quest needs to be more about laning, or at least staying with your AD carry. Like, maybe it's a proximity thing. It already kinda is. Like, you're already locked into getting a support item when you queue into the game, right? Like, you get the support quest. Another problem that is only true of pro play because they play on Tournament Realm is the role quest is chosen in the lobby. Yeah. Once you have the custom lobby, it comes in, like, you get into your 5 and you have to choose what role you're in. Usually it's automated based on who joins first and yada yada yada, but you do have to pick which role you're in, and then you can't swap, which is not true of solo queue. Solo queue, I can swap with my support, and now I'm playing a different role, and I can choose I can choose a champion. So I kind of wish they would do that for pro. I know that people are already discussing, like, the 20-second rule is now getting abused. Like, people are switching at the last second to get a good matchup. We saw that with the Jace Akali mid lane, where it's, okay, I'm no longer playing Akali last second into Galio. It's Jace into Galio, and that's a hard winning matchup. Like, that probably needs to also go, or at least be reworked. But I think support quest needs to have some level of, like, tying themselves to the AD carry. I'm okay with roaming supports, but there needs to be a punishment.
Yeah. The last thing that I guess I will say about all this is that it's kind of funny to me, like, thinking about a younger me. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it. I would definitely be one of these people that is, like, such a whiny brat. And
it's definitely support the AD carry. It's supposed to support the team, I guess. Continue.
I would definitely be the ones, like, whining, protesting, and be like, I only play these champions if you've made my game unplayable. But I think, yeah, like, the amount of champions that are in the game, the way the game has evolved, you've just got to, AD carry players, guys, we just got to learn how to adapt. I will get upset if I would. I'm not even gonna say I will, because it's just not a reality. I would get upset if, like, this sort of bottom lane scenario exists forever, or, like, not forever, for, like, a really long time, right? Like a year, I would say, where so many of these AD carries are just kind of pushed out of the game. But kind of like what you're talking about, Mark, that with jungle, like, there's just gonna be stints where some champions are out of the meta, and either you can stop playing the game if you want whiny AD carry players, or you can do what I'm doing, and I have an alt account, hand leveled Drew Levin, where I'm just gonna pick up some of these other mages. Like, I'm gonna be putting reps in on the Ziggs. I also already played Syndra in the mid lane, so I can play Syndra in the bottom lane. I also played, like, Brand. I could play Brand, but I'm gonna pick up, like, I'm gonna play some more Victor, or I'm gonna play a lot more Ziggs.
When's Xerath coming online, brother? I need to see you lock in some Xerath.
Xerath is so hard. Xerath is super
very
high
punishing.
floor, because if you are not good at landing spells, the champion is just useless. So
yeah.
Woo.
Well, I play Ezreal, so maybe I could try it.
Ezreal has a dash.
Yeah, but I mean, like, all skill
I know,
shot reliant. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I guess maybe it's like the wisdom recognizing things. I think what I would say to everybody that's super whiny and pretending like they should protest because AD carry players are the whiniest is that just give it a try. And by the time 2027 rolls around, or maybe even, like, the freaking Worlds patch, Riot's crazy. You Caitlyn player, or not Caitlyn players, you Aphelios players, Zeri players, Yunara players, Callista players.
Maybe like, not the Yunara players. They had their time. They had their time for a bit.
Okay, yeah. I'm just trying to think of auto attackers, right?
For the AD carry mains, and specifically AD carry mains that hate the meta and do not want to deal with any of the mage awesome dude bot lane shenanigans that is going on right now, there is a wonderful thing coming out on July 29th, and it is called League Classic, and you can return to the old ways where you can enjoy playing.
Wait, but the old ways were even worse. This is why I'm actually getting. I feel like I'm getting psyoped here because there are so many champions in League Classic that you would just play. Like, how many of the 80 carry players would be like, oh yeah, back in the day they played like Lee Sin Blitzcrank bot lane. It's like, okay, nice, bro. Or you play like GP, or you'd play like random, like we had Tarek, right? Like the point and click stun Tarek in support.
Yeah, point and click stun Pantheon.
Yeah, exactly. There was all these like different mages and 80 carry bruisers, or like attack damage bruisers that they would just play, and it's like, oh, we're not playing marksman bottom lane. I haven't played League Classic, so I'm assuming that they're going off of playing normal lanes of top jungle and then marksman in bottom lane. But
yeah,
if they knew their history, they would know. They would know that this was a thing.
They would also know that some of those other assassin mages that you guys find annoying, like I'm sure some of you newer players like don't like LeBlanc because she can blow you up, but at least you
LeBlanc
have
was so cringe to play
against.
Yeah,
yeah. At least you have the ability
God.
to like use your spells before she tries to go in. What if you couldn't do that because it has a silence on her Q? Kassadin, you think he's annoying because level 16 Kassadin is scary, but usually you can kind of put a Kassadin down and try to win the game earlier. Try surviving Kassadin when his Q doesn't let you use any of your abilities. So,
that was awesome, bro. I love that. That was a really fun time. A crystalline flask, Kassadin just running me down. Old Aurelia with crystalline flask. Get me out of the game. I'm not doing this anymore. I do not miss that. I do kind of miss crystalline flask, but it was very abusive. Old
I'm
Yorick
actually having a lot of fun playing top lane at the moment. Which is funny.
Yes.
I thought that I would just wanting to be spamming the jungle, but I forgot that I never actually had to play a ton of jungle when camps could actually fight and they had hands and they like
the jungle camps used to shit on you so hard, and you would just be like, well,
You
I
just
hope I
don't
get a
have any
leash.
mana sustain.
Leashing is no longer a thing. How many players, by the way, have never experienced leashing? That's like
that's crazy.
That's an old head take right there. Like there's so many new players that just have never leashed for their jungler before.
And you know what's oh, and also for like super new players, like mid laners with blue buff and 80 carries with red buff.
Oh yes.
They had to use your jungler used to like get it low for you, or you could help out, and then they'd have to actually give you the whole camp, or you wouldn't get red buffs. So what I found interesting about that point, Dimitri, and the leashing thing is, I heard it during the classic show match in North America. I think it was Jad talking about how modern League has enabled people to be less of good people, because back then, like, if you flamed your jungler in the opening 5 minutes, he's just not giving you a blue buff.
He's not giving you a blue buff as a mid laner, bro.
You a red buff, or like you want a gank, or if you want ganks early game, and your jungler wants to start red side, and you're on his red buff, and you're starting blue, your bottom lane. Hey, guess what, guys? You had to leash him, and if you didn't leash him, he's never coming bottom lane. You had to be a nice person. No. I found that was really interesting.
The red buff was less of an issue. Blue buff as a mid laner with mana, you were screwed if you didn't have blue buff.
True.
At like
Mount
6 minutes in the game, at blue, if I remember playing LeBlanc and everything, and I would be like, okay, well, am I getting blue this game? Because if I'm not, then I hope everyone's okay with not having a mid laner for the next 8 minutes.
Play the game.
You cannot play the game. Okay, we need to move on. We've been here for a long time. All right, small check-in from fans. We're looking at BLG right now. They did go 3-0, and we've talked a little bit about some of their other series, but 9 games this week, all 3-game series versus Thunder Talk, EDG, and AL. I said last week on the podcast with Jack, I was like, Jack, if we're BLG and our first week is TT, EDG, AL, are we making prep sheets for AL, EDG? Let's pretend we're coaches here. Are we doing the prep for these guys? And he was like, I just told him to shake my hand, bro, and I'll see him on Sunday night for AL. We were ready. We were like, okay, we're not prepping for these guys. I mean, Thunder Talk who? How many championships do these guys have? EDG who? How many championships do these guys have? We're not doing anything. I'm not doing any prepping to these guys. And the Thunder Talk series, they got ran in game number 2. They looked really shaky. I feel like this team is still going to get it. I'm holding out hope. I've told everybody on the show that we're not going to freak out about any results until like week 3 or week 4, basically.
Yeah. I was also excited for the BLG stuff because something that I talked about during the series was I was curious, like, this is a team that obviously in Split 2 was very centered on resource allocation, of course, going to obviously Knight, but then Bit, right? So I was curious to see, especially factoring in how supports, like we talked about, have been unlocked. Like, there's a lot of carry junglers in the meta. Are we going to play for, like, maybe giving Shun some more resources to be able to carry out? Are we going to, try and play a bit more for Viper to fill this, like, resource hole? I thought it'd be pretty fun. I would say a little bit recency bias that I think Viper has stepped up, aptly so, for the fact that we had Wenbo. I never doubted that he wouldn't, but against AL, he earned player of the match, of course, across the 3 games. His Ezreal was wonderful. Outside of a couple Ashe arrows, his Ashe was very good in baiting in Breathe to try and chase him around and getting them killed. So I'm glad the Viper stepped up. But on the negative side, Wenbo, shall I be kind with this one? Wenbo is not it, guys. And the thing that really locked it in for me was, at least in the first, or these TT and EDG series, it was like, all right, buddy, you're coming into this super team. We're just going to have you play some weak side Yorick. Just relax. Or we're going to pick you a Cassante game, and you're just going to play Cassante tank and, just be a health bar. But this series against AL, it seemed like they were making a certain effort to be like, all right, Wenbo, can you give us a carry performance, right? Can you ball out on the Mbessa? I will say for the Mbessa
was
game,
fine.
It was fine, but they also didn't give him any setup. Like, it was a terrible comp to try and land this new Mbessa ultimate. But then they tried the Gwen game. It's like, all right, man, we really need you to, like, win this Yorick matchup and kill all these tanks later because we're playing a Kali bottom lane and Jace mid lane, and they have, like, 3 tanks. We're not going to kill them later. You have to be him. And, boy, was it dog poop. Swear jar. I know you're there. So
approved.
So the fact that he didn't really show out on the carries, yeah, this is Hoya rumor. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, there's a Hoya. So for people who don't know, we were freaking out in the middle of the week. We started off LPL, and literally the day it's starting, we have a bunch of rumors of like Hoya's potentially joining the team, and then a couple days later, I see that, Bin is only going to be out for like 3 to 5 matches, and he's allegedly coming back. Nothing is finalized. Hoya technically got like, I think there was like a solo queue tracker, and it like said that he got added to BLG, but we have no like actual basis for this to go off of. He's not been added to the official site on League QQ, so until it happens, until it's like officialized, we're not going to know. But there is a rumor that someone might be stepping in. There was all these talks of like Flandre potentially coming in, but Flandre apparently wanted too much money. That is the rumors. He wanted too much money from BLG, so he didn't get in, and now he's stuck on an AL that I don't know if we'll talk about it this week because they did go they went 2-1, but the teams that they played against weren't super incredible. And Breeze's individual performance, I think, wasn't that amazing from those 3 series. Word on the street is that Breathe and Flandre are basically playing for the spot, and it's based on performance. So if that's the case, then I would assume that we're going to be maybe seeing Flandre in week 2 or week 3 if this keeps going. But back to BLG, I don't think that they're going to make a change. I think as much trouble as some of the explosion or the implosion from this BLG team happened over MSI and them losing Blood Money Cup, they need to keep Bin. I need to see, like, we need to see this 5 for Worlds. I do not want to have a situation where we're sending our best team, and I'm already kind of upset because I have a feeling that this meta that we're seeing right now for regular season is going to continue up until playoffs, And then either playoffs is going to be a completely different meta, or worlds is going to be a completely different meta than what this team qualified on. And that's just going to make me pissed off, because then it's just like, well,
it's so gonna happen. Yeah.
It's whatever. And it's literally happened like almost every single year at this point. So I'm just like, well, I guess we'll see what happens, because this means that worlds is going to be a cluster, and I don't want to see that happening.
Yeah. At the very least, because BLG has already won the first 3 games the first 3 series of the regular season, I did the numbers earlier before coming onto the podcast, and unfortunately
Wonderful.
I did not write it down, so I griefed myself.
Never mind.
But I
take it back.
Yep. But it's double round robin, and
Yes.
it's 14 series total, I believe, is the total number. So as long as you are above, I think, 8 series in terms of wins, you're guaranteed.
Usually 8 is enough to qualify.
Yeah. Usually, like, 8 wins is enough to qualify to playoffs. And I think even with 7 wins, you should be out of the top. You should be out of the bottom 2, which is all you want to avoid. Obviously, having top 2 seeds so that you get either a berth in upper bracket, or however the playoffs bracket works.
It does work. So
Split
you're
3.
so it is an 18 bracket. First and second seed will start in the second round. So they'll basically start in upper quarterfinals.
Sure.
Yeah.
So first and second seed would be
Or upper
ideal,
semis, I guess.
But if BLG are going to be the best team that LPL sends to Worlds this year, then for me it doesn't matter what place they start, as long as they're just locked in all the way through. So if Ben needs the time to rest and figure his mental out and return to form from when he saw him at his best at first stand earlier this year, then, you know, let this be the change that BLG needs to take. And if they suffer games with Wembo, I'm not too worried about it, because Shun and On are in amazing form right now, and they are easily the best jungle and support of the league, and the best jungle and support potentially of the world right now. So I know that HLE beat them at MSI, so they can have that over. I still think Shun played a better tournament than Kanavi did.
There you go.
And it just happens that they lost.
I think both junglers in that MSI series entered some games.
Yeah, Loki, they were kind of running it down. Loki,
They
was a bit tough.
And also, love the Shun point. It's mostly draft gap, and I'm just trying to rage bait a little bit, but some of those Lee Sin looks from Mr. Shun in that game too last night were very funny. But it's also an
playing Lee Sin into
game.
5 tanks, man. 5 tanks.
Well, and
GG.
two taunts is like, yeah,
Yeah.
all right, bro. We're just yeah. He also
Okay.
locked in Lee Sin like first rotation. He got draft screwed. I'm just rage baiting.
Yeah. let's get into we finally, much due to me complaining, and we now have Ilya where he's not busy, where he's not griefing me, and he is actually going to give a Mandarin lesson.
Woke.
To the person in chat who said that they skipped this, shame on you. You should learn some Chinese if you're going to watch a lot of League of Legends. And it's good. Professor Ilya, join us from the ether.
I love this pose.
Yeah.
I do not have a VTuber set up.
No VTuber today.
Because my GPU has been overheating, which is why there's no front of the PC tower anymore.
Well, they can't see that on our computer.
I know, but
so.
I'm not going to try to risk that while we all sit here. Anyways, let's learn some Mandarin. I just realized my mic is way too low for broadcast there, or for the show. There we go. Okay. Just kidding.
Oh.
Have you guys been remembering what we've been learning for the past, I've missed 3, so the past 17 episodes of an LPL podcast?
I don't think I've watched every single lesson So
Then shame
I'm
on
definitely
you
going to
two.
be missing some knowledge. I know.
I will definitely be getting
I'm just going to pray that you have some basic vocab that I've been learning on my old man app.
Okay.
Well,
And I'm
All
just
right,
here
don't worry,
to. I'm
it's
just here to be
only
the punching
two
bag.
questions. It's only two
Two
questions. And you can
Oh.
help each other out on this. You can
Okay.
give
Plus
me
two. Okay.
a group decided answer.
Okay.
Let's start off.
So we're all
easy.
failing together.
No, you won't. If Alk
Yay!
remembers any of
Okay.
this because he's been here for every single one, you'll be fine. Alright, using what we have learned so far, if Shanghai uses the characters Shang to mean up and Hai to mean ocean for Shanghai the city, which one of these terms means top lane in League of Legends? A. Shangdan, B. Zhongdan, or C. Xiadan?
hey,
Guys, I think we have to take
Yeah,
A, no?
I think we have to pick
pick
A.
A.
No, because up. Yeah. Oh.
Yay!
It rotates!
Whoa! It did a little spin.
I will say I do remember mid lane that is Zhongdan because Zhongguo is central country
Yes.
for China.
And you can tell that it's the word for zhong because it is a box with a line right down the middle.
Whoa.
Let's go.
And
That's
xia kind of looks like if
Guys,
shang was
We're
inverted.
50%. We could literally
Yay!
quit right now and we have a 50%.
You guys are currently passing for today. Oh. There goes
sick.
Mars.
Is 50% passing?
Yeah, 50. What?
It is when it's two
50%
questions.
is. Even if it wasn't just two
I was
questions,
thinking from a-
50%
I was thinking
is
from
a
a-
pass.
I
Oh,
was
a
thinking
letter
from a letter
grade.
grade standpoint.
50% is like a C minus. No?
What the? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
What?
No, C minus is
C
like
minus is like
70%.
72%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
C minus is like 70
Oh,
to
you
75.
Americans.
You Americans, bro, 50%'s an F.
No, a 49% and below is an F.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Wait,
we get a
is this
D.
the Canadian letter grade system? I want that. What
Yeah,
the
well, I
hell?
could have used that
In
in
Canada.
COVID college.
86% and above is an A.
That's
Somewhere
what the
between 72 to
Holy.
85 is a B. Below 72 is a C. And then below 50 is a fail.
guys. Do we have grade inflation in the U.S.?
Obviously, there's slightly
Was that a
further
question?
there's
Do we
further
have grade
separators for A
inflation?
plus, A minus, and then B plus, B, B
Wow.
minus.
Let's get to the next question because we're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
math
Yeah,
on stream.
50%
I had someone
is a
flame me in the
pass,
YouTube
don't
comments
worry.
earlier.
So you guys already passed. Congratulations.
All right,
Question
guys.
Canada.
number 2.
Shout out Canada.
Which one of these means League of Legends?
Oh.
And this one, you'll rely on Alpha a little bit. Is it A, 英雄联盟, or B, 英雄联盟, or C, 英雄联盟, or D, 英雄联盟?
Oh no.
Oh, no. Dimitri.
Okay.
Oh fuck.
Hey, okay. So let's identify the differences first. So all four of them have the same last two characters,
Yes.
right? So the first two characters are the differences
So-
in each of the four
So
words.
A and D have the same first symbol, and B and C have the same first symbol. But A and B have the same second symbol. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if
yeah.
this helps at all, but I've noticed these.
Professor Ilya, can you pronounce A and then pronounce B? Just the ying.
英雄,英雄. There's no difference.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck! I'm excited.
Swear jar.
Oh, sorry, Lausche. I'm frustrated.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well, that
Guys, I think it's B. I think it's B.
I feel like it's either A or B. So here's
Those
the
who are
hilarious.
here for this lesson have written this out before.
I have
made you
written
guys
this out.
Write it out a few times.
I don't think I wrote this one out. I thought I wrote something else out.
I definitely did not. I do not remember this at all.
I'm like pretty sure it is B because I have now. Here is another issue that is only unique to specifically the font that we're using. Sometimes writing this out looks way differently than it actually is here on the screen. The font sometimes messes with the. Yes, it does.
This is pretty correct to how you would write it.
I'm saying it's B. I'm going with B, guys.
I
I'm
trust
going
you.
with B.
I trust
Yep.
you. I will.
Lock
I'm
it
running
in.
it down, guys. I'm sending us to the shadow room right now.
All right, so before
Here we
I
go.
clear it away, you guys are locking in on B.
Yes.
All right, the first one is Eagle Bear League.
Oh,
Oh, awesome. That's like.
Ying to
Okay.
mean eagle, xiong is bear, lianmeng is a league, or like a
Oh, crap.
Eagle Bear
like a,
League.
Oh, crap.
all right, and so B is British Bear League.
It's C.
This is the
Word
most
gonna
words
kill
we have
myself
heard
now.
on a single podcast. C is Heroes League, and D is Eagle Brothers League.
Wow.
It was
Unlucky. It's C.
You guys
and we both have
passed.
C. We have so much.
Thanks,
C.
Canada. I passed. If this was America, we would
I
have
love
failed.
Canada, bro. I love Canada.
All right, so what
I
have we
love
learned from
Canada.
today? Study Chinese.
We've learned
Study
to study
Chinese.
Chinese. Goddamn. Guys, I'm sorry for letting us down. I'm sorry
It's
for,
okay.
for leading
You
us to
said
the
it
wrong
so
answer.
confidently too.
Bro, I was like, it had to be B, and then
Yeah, my favorite British Bear League.
yeah,
We do have a bear.
we do. Let's move on to the schedule.
Are
Let's
you
finish out the
sure?
podcast. Let's finish out the podcast. Thank you, Professor
Which one of
Ilya.
these?
Thank you, Professor Elia.
Study Chinese.
Thank you. 谢谢老师。
不用客气。
That means no need to thank me. All right.
It actually means no need to be so courteous.
All right, never mind, brother.
Also known as you're welcome.
Yes. Okay, schedule for week 2. Reminder, everybody, we are back on Wednesdays. So make sure that you're keeping that up to date. That Friday match, it looks a little bit weird because it is a 2-series day. However, 4 a.m. or approximately the time around when WEBLG ends is going to be a League Classic show match in LPL.
Woo!
Mazel has kind of floated the idea of potentially covering it. I don't really care about League Classic, but if people on the broadcast, I'll make a ping later today in the server if people want to cover that. But we're
think
just looking at the schedule.
We should ask, and by ask, we should kindly request and force Kelsey to cover it because she will know
Sold.
all the players.
Sold.
That'd be pretty cool. It's a good suggestion.
Series for this week that we're excited about, guys.
This is gonna sound biased because it's the one series I'm covering, but I am excited for Junhao versus Monkey, which is Thunder Talk
Fair.
WE. I think that'll
Approved.
be very fun. so even if I wasn't casting it, I would say that that's fun because I think of what we talked about earlier about Junhao, and Monkey's been playing pretty supremely, I would say, for Team WE. He looks back and confident right off his split 2. So I think that one will be pretty fun. I'm also excited to watch more NIP. I thought Guwon was going crazy with it, even if it was against a lesser LNG. And I think we will get a much better idea of how good NIP will be in this series. I actually think I'll take a step further, guys. I think this series, NIP versus Weibo, will give us a much better idea about who we feel like is going to be that other team that gets out of Nirvana, because I do think IG is going to be one of them. So, process of deduction here. NIP or
Yeah.
Weibo are the other two because we don't think it's LNG. So, this is a pretty important series for Nirvana. I think that's a big one to circle.
I want to watch TT JDG because if TT are 2-2 in the split and they're beating up on JDG, this team might end top 4. They might actually take, like, WE might move. So if we think that the tier list is like BLG, Top Esports, AL, and then 4th was supposed to be, either AL or JDG, and then you just swap 3 and 4, then that means that maybe WE go into 4 and Thunder Talk are now 5. And also that would mean that then JDG start off the season 0 and 3, which is nightmare inducing, because then their next 2 series are Top Esports BLG, potentially starting off the season 0 and 5, only to be matched by EDG starting off the season 0 and 5, because they're also playing WE and they're going to be playing AL this week.
JDG fans, if this happens, don't worry. Remember how WE looked in the regular split, last split. Just saying.
But is Junja Monkey? That is the real question.
Mark, listen.
Mark, aren't you also coming back this week?
I am
Also
coming
true.
back
Mark
this
is also
week.
coming back this week. He's got 2 broadcasts.
I'm covering Thunder Talk JDG, and then I'm
Oh, there you
covering
go.
JDG BLG. So I am on both of the first JDG series for this week. So, and I will call myself out that I was one of the people that was super excited about the JDG roster build before Winter Split even started. I had like a big tweet that had a lot of people either saying, yes, very based, or you are insane and really stupid, thinking that JDG with this roster rebuild and with Tabe at the helm was going to accomplish one of 2 things: win an LPL domestic title and go to an international. And thankfully they already did
They
that.
did one of them.
They did one of
They
them,
did.
but they have yet to win a domestic title, and my faith has waned in that accomplishment. I still think that they are good enough from a floor level to be one of the top 4 teams that qualifies to Worlds, but they need to make serious improvements, like my camera,
It's just too hot in your room, bro.
Yeah, it is. I think the battery keeps overheating. I don't know why it does this at night. I literally had this on for 6 hours earlier today doing a Wild Rift broadcast, and it never went offline. But anytime I load up Parsec,
what help with that? You should
What?
get a big tub of ice water, and you should dunk your camera in there. It'll help.
I thought for a second you were gonna actually offer advice, because Europeans talk about putting ice water in front of or behind their fans, I think, because they don't have AC.
You put them
I
in
thought you were
front of
gonna
your
say
fan.
that
You put it
in front of your fan. Yeah, in front of your fan. Well, doesn't a fan draw? Can it draw air from behind to push?
Yeah, but it's not
air
gonna
out
draw.
forward?
But like, you want it to like push the cold air, and like if it's not gonna draw it like super intense. Like there's more force being pushed out than pulled in.
Yeah, that makes more sense. But I'm not like completely whatever. I'm not.
Bro,
I'm not
I just
like
be
this,
lying.
yeah.
I just be saying. Like.
fair enough. But I was going to list out the TT and the WE series as my one I'm looking forward to the most, because I think even if I want to believe that Junhao can be a top 3 jungler for the split, I think he is held back by his solo laners, and the solo laners will be a make or break of whether he can get enough from Feather and then translate the early game success and the momentum he finds into things that Keshi and Haru can then actually use in team fights against some of the better competition. But against something like WE, both of the stories are very similar, where both Monkey and Junhao are in the perfect metas for these kinds of players that just want to be able to unlock their supports and just go wreak havoc and chaos across the entire Rift without anyone getting involved, regardless of how strong their solo laners are compared to the rest of the league.
Oh,
Done with that? What's up?
and I'm also, we didn't really get to talk about this because we didn't talk about too much for WE, but just to say it now, because if you tune into a WE series, I got 3 of them, of course. In particular, also, I do want to say for 2 of the 3, Karis, Buddy is still seeming to get better, which is very fun, I think, for WE. I was impressed by his early start, and he gets a matchup against Bulldog and Haru.
Free wins.
It should be free wins, and I want more people paying attention to Karis, because I think if they can get even higher level play out of Karis with what Monkey's doing, this team becomes a lot more fun than just even more fun than the upsetting BLG memes. So that's the last thing I would say about WE.
All right, gentlemen, we've gone on for an extended period of time. Technically, this would have just been an hour-long podcast if we didn't talk about the World Cup, but that's okay. You guys were really excited.
Well, that math doesn't
That was
check
7
out.
minutes. It was 7 minutes. So,
Yeah.
producer Ilya is looking at me funny. Gentlemen, this is the end of the podcast. This is where we kind of, start to sign off. Rafa, where can folks find you in this next week? Aside
At
from the
Rafa
LPL cast
Cast.
we were talking about.
Yeah, at RafaCast on all social media platforms except for OnlyFans, of course. And then we have NACL this week for me as well. I'm casting. Let me look at my calendar really quickly.
I know what day you're not.
Wait, I just had it pulled up.
Never mind, bro. We're not seeing you anywhere, man. You're getting fired.
July 31st. I'm covering. So, oh my God, wait. Am I doing an LPL cast, sleep into or nap into NACL? How did I let this
no.
happen? Wait,
Yeah,
how
this
did
is
I?
your fault, bro.
Oh,
Slayer, where can people find you this week?
Hey, so I don't have to look at my calendar to do this. My last NACL cast of the entire year will be on July 30th.
Oh, wow.
Will be my final cast. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Then I do not have to worry about going into. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm the day after. Crisis averted.
Yeah.
I'm 31st.
So I'll be if you are an NA fan and you want to watch some North American Challengers League, that's where I will be on Thursday the 30th. And all I will say now, I'm going to do this because the audience crossover is very small. Let's just say if you have been watching the NACL, you're in for a surprise on that day.
Okay.
Are you talking
All
about
right.
You're in for a
conviction?
surprise.
You're talking about conviction,
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro, what? Bro.
I don't even know what the surprise is, by the way.
I
For
know,
what it's
but
worth, I'm
Mark.
tapped out on this. That's crazy. And
All
with
right, well-
that, we're going to end the podcast.
wrap it
We've
up, man.
gone on for way too long. This is a super mega packed episode because it involved me complaining about Riot balancing and Riot decisions that they've made for the game. And we had 280 carry players, so we had to whine about stuff that's going on. I want
My
to thank
take was
Rafa and
based,
Slayer
no?
for joining on to the show. I want to thank producer Ilya for making it all the way through 2 hours of random BS from us and taking his time out of his very busy employed life. And thank you all for listening and watching. We'll be back again on Wednesday for week 2, where we'll be in Shanghai for the entire week. We'll be in IG's new home arena for the entire week. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll see what cool stuff is there at the arena. Won't want to miss it. Thank you everybody for joining us and have a great night.